Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Basketball Maestros podcast. Big day today. The NBA trade deadline has passed, and man, it was one hell of an experience, let me tell you. So, since last show, a lot has happened. Kyrie Irving is a Dallas Maverick. LeBron broke the all time scoring record. And Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun. Russell Westbrook is not a Laker. A lot of stuff has happened, and we will dive into all of that. Very packed episode today. But starting off with the Kyrie Irving situation, um, obviously there was a lot of speculation when he asked out. He asked out very suddenly last Friday. And Lakers and Mavs were kind of the two teams seen as the suitors, and ultimately the Mavs got Kyrie Irving for win now pieces, and we see how that turned out now with Kevin Durant leaving. So the Nets are just all in all just a weird franchise, but we'll talk more about them in a second. So overall, Kyrie Irving is a Maverick. I watched his debut against the Clippers last night. He looked really good. The Mavs obviously missing Luka. I think he should be coming back relatively soon. But yeah, the Mavs are going to look really good on offense. Reggie Bullock hit like four straight threes or something crazy like that. So Mavs offense is going to be very dangerous. Their defense is kind of what I'm concerned about. You know, from prior to the Kevin Durant trade, I thought the package was good for just the amount of time they had to deal Kyrie Irving, which was less than a week before the deadline. So, but now I'm kind of iffy about it. But overall, I think the Nets are just in a very weird position right now. And as I said, we'll talk more in depth about them when we get to Kevin Durant. But I think for the Mavs, it's a very huge gamble. So far, no verbal commitment in terms of an extension. Kyrie came out and said that they'll worry about that in the summer. So I think this is a good win now move. Do I think they're contenders? No. But I think they'll definitely make some noise. I think it all just depends on their defense. I think losing Finney Smith, even though he's not the biggest name out there, I think he was very vital to what they do. And it'll be interesting to see how their defense holds up throughout the season. But just to put a grade on it, I give the Mavs probably a B. And just with full context now, I'd probably give the Nets a C on this deal. You want to give your thoughts?
Yeah, I really love this deal for the Mavs. I really like the idea when we originally had the original teams kind of being listed and who was interested. Obviously, I would have liked him to be a Laker, but you just kind of have to look at it, and it just didn't make sense. From the time of when he requested the trade, it's like, what do the Nets want back? And I just couldn't see a scenario where Westbrook and Katie were on the same team again. And obviously now we know Katie's for the Suns, but at that time, it just didn't make sense to me. But at the same time, Joe Tsai deserves. He's just a weird guy. All I gotta say, like saying like, "Oh, I didn't want to accept the Lakers deal because it's the Lakers." Like, this makes no sense. But for the Mavericks POV, I really like it. The offense is gonna be insane. But like you mentioned, that defense, their bigs are
Big
not
concern.
very good at all. So, teams like the Suns now, you have the Lakers still with the guys like AD and, DeAndre. And I feel like they can really just um, beat the Mavs. But at the same time, when you look at the guards, like it is just insane for the Mavericks. Like Luka, obviously, second highest scorer right now. Kyrie, like that team's going to be scary. I watched Kyrie's post game, and he's just saying how he doesn't need to have the ball with his hands. He can play off ball. He can play, he's open to passing and all that. So that's definitely a good sign in terms of long term. He did say he did like how the Mavericks have been ran and how ownership is. Will that mean he stays? No one knows. But I think I give this Mavs for the Mavs side. I give him like a B plus because I think that I just think that they needed to do something for Luca. It's just, and this is obviously something that really should make him happy, and this will make this team better. But in terms of can they beat the top teams in the West, like the Nuggets, I feel like they can actually maybe beat the Grizzlies. I just hate the Grizzlies now after all that stuff. Honestly, the Suns now with KD, like, can you really think that? Do you really think they beat those teams? Maybe even the Clippers, you can say, even though they just beat them last night. But obviously, the Clippers made some moves. I mean, it's definitely. I don't think that they're a finals contender, but can they make a run and maybe, surprise a team in a 7-game series? Yeah, I think they can maybe make the Western Conference Finals, pending on if how good Luka and Kyrie play. So I like this for the Mavs. For the Nets, getting Dinwiddie and Mr. Finney Smith, and obviously some of those picks. I mean, it just didn't make sense. I felt like the haul wasn't as crazy as you think it'd be. Um, and the Nets are just a confusing franchise right now. Obviously, we'll get more into them, but I don't think the Nets had a really good um, package in return. I'd give them a C overall for this trade. And I don't like what they got back at all. They now are stuck with Dinwiddie. I thought they were gonna move him, to be honest, after I saw that KD trade last night, but they didn't. So it's just kind of in a weird position, and I don't know what seed they are actually right now, but
They're fifth right now. So
yeah, for as a fifth seed now, people thought you were
drop.
championship contenders. They are gonna have a hard drop. We won't get into it too much right now, but overall, that Kyrie deal, I don't like it for the Nets.
The Nets are looking like the Toronto Raptors at home. They have just an ultimate stockpile on wings. But moving on to the historic night that happened a couple nights ago, Thunder versus Lakers. LeBron breaking the all-time scoring record, which was definitely surreal to watch. The crowd was just electric, and Daniel was very, very fortunate to be able to be at that game. So he'll share. I'm sure he has more exciting details than me watching through a screen, but overall, just it reminded me of the Kobe game, just the way the crowd was. Every time LeBron had the ball, everybody was just cheering, very excited, just anticipating him to shoot every single time. And I said it before in our group chats. I thought he was going to break it against the Bucks, which is today at the time of this recording. But his pregame outfit was just all the way telling that he was going to break this record, and he had everybody in attendance. So I just knew he was going to try and break that record, and he just came out man on a mission. Really handled it great. The ceremony when he broke it was very great. Kareem obviously looked pissed off because LeBron broke his record, but overall it was just a great experience. Very, very disappointed that we lost that game, which is just a cherry on top. But I mean, regardless, he broke a record that's probably going to stand for a very long time, maybe as long as Kareem's did. But right now, I don't see anybody catching up to that record anytime soon. But yeah, man, it was great, great experience. Especially very satisfying to see him do it in a Laker jersey. Um, us fans are very spoiled to have these great players, and being able to see Kobe's last game and LeBron doing this is just very fortunate, and it's just a blessing, honestly, just to be able to watch these guys. And it's very sad that LeBron's going to be gone in a couple of years, but just taking it all in and appreciating him while he's here. And I think LeBron haters should do the same. The hating is crazy. Meaningless accolade was thrown around out there, but yeah, overall great experience. Happy for LeBron. He deserves it. He's just the GOAT, plain and simple. I think he's the GOAT when it's all said and done. I think this record just solidifies it. You can argue with a wall. I think he's just baits over. He can bring up championships, but man, he's just all around just the greatest player. He can do it all, and it's crazy. At 38, he's averaging basically 30 points. So argue with the wall. LeBron's the GOAT. But yeah, great experience for me, even though we lost.
Yeah, and Tuesday night was honestly like it was surreal. That's all I can really say about it. On the way to the game, it's just you're hoping. I'm driving down to LA. I'm like, man, is he like? I saw the pregame fit. I saw the reports that Kareem's gonna be there, all his family. I'm like, dude, he has to break it
Yeah.
tonight. There's no way. Before the game, the stadium, like you could just tell, like everyone's cheering LeBron when he's warming up. Like he makes a three, everyone's cheering. It's just like crazy. Then the game time starts, and like for some reason, the entire arena stood up right when he got the ball, like off the like game beginning, and it's like you could just tell, like there is no way. Like the hype was crazy. I'm very fortunate to even get the opportunity to be there. For just more context, my uncle has season tickets, and he just straight up gave them to us, and I was like,
Yeah.
because honestly, I thought he was gonna break it Thursday, and I think he did too. I think most people did, like today. But he just said, you guys can go. We'll see if he breaks it. 36 points is, a lot. So um, I'm very thankful for him giving him to me. But we end up going, and then around like the second quarter, like he had 16 points left after he sat, and you just knew that he was
Yeah.
gonna break it. And when he broke it, like I don't, it was just that third quarter was just, it was so amazing. Just every time, the energy, the threes, the and ones, like it was just, it was insane. And then, when he broke it, just the entire arena erupted. And then that whole ceremony was, it was cool to see, just cool to see everything. Then we ended up losing the game. Isaiah Joe
Oh,
and Mike Muscala are actually next up, like the
revenge
best
game, man.
players I've ever
Like
seen.
Muscala,
It was funny because the
bro.
people behind me, it was I kept saying like, dude, how are you giving up 70 to the Thunder like first half? And then they just like I could just tell like people around me were all mad, and
Yikes.
uh, it was bad. But I hate Russell Westbrook even more. That man was trying to sabotage that night, everything he had.
Bro is passing it
Like
to Kareem, bro.
that's what I'm saying, dude.
On
Like
an
that
open
it
transition.
was, yeah, it was bad. It was whatever, but we're not getting gotten into it yet, but he's gone. Thank the Lords. Um, but it was just crazy. You could tell that LeBron wanted it. You can tell even that halftime thing. I was on my phone. I saw the halftime mic'd up thing, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna do it!" So I like got even more hyped. But I can't even put it in the words. Just seeing that, and then because in my opinion, I don't think this record's gonna be broken for the next 50 years. I think he's gonna go on to score 40,000 career points, which is absurd when you think about it. I feel like he has a chance to do that, and I think he's a good chance, obviously. But something I just kind of want to get into is just how disappointing NBA fans are, and just how sad
Bro.
some of these guys are. Like you're seeing a record that stood for nearly 40 years, and the first thing you do is try to go and hate on the man. Like, come on, like we're better than this. Like, regardless as if you don't like LeBron, like for just any reason, like still at the same time, like this is history. This is like when's the next time you're gonna see like a record like this be broken? Like all time, like in any sport, right? Like and we're what we're doing here is we're like, oh my god, he lost the game though. Like no one cares about the game.
True.
Like even like all the celebrities are there. I know Shannon Sharp was there, and he was all like, it sucks that they lost, but no one cares about the game. Like we care about the record, we care about that. Like this is a moment that will like be in history for however long. Like, and the first thing you want to do is go on and be like meaningless accolade. Like
Wild. Wild.
it is absolutely wild. Like the internet, even if you're trolling, like I guess it's more understandable, but the internet is just crazy. And in my opinion, I'm kind of with Matt. I think this man is the GOAT. For 20 years, I'm done with like the whole like debate. For 20 years, this man has put on a show in this league, passing, defending, scoring, rebounding, blocks, steal, everything. He can do it all. Um, and I was kind of that person who always thought MJ was the best, and I just kind of like thought about it. It's just, I never saw MJ play, and that's just gonna be my argument. If you want to say MJ was the best, like good job. I never saw him play personally. I've seen LeBron James play though for my life. So if you're like a 20-year-old or 19-year-old who's like MJ's the best. I mean, cool, but never saw the man play, so how can you really tell? And if you want to be like, oh, he has 6 championships, and if you want to go the championship route, then Bill Russell's the best player of all time.
True.
You want to go there? Like, I mean, come on, that's just my opinion. You can hate it, you can love it. I don't care, but just I don't know. I literally, it's like so weird to think. I just smile when I think about that night because it was just so crazy. It was just absurd. But congrats to LeBron. Congrats to his family for everyone being there, and really happy to see what the rest of this season turns out to be.
Amen. Congrats to LeBron, man. Truly surreal stuff he's doing out there. But let's get into the exciting stuff. The NBA trade deadline has came and went, and the Los Angeles Lakers, Rob Pelinka, he went to town. He went to work. He put his hard hat on. He got to business, and man, you gotta appreciate it. There's a lot of speculation whether the Lakers are just gonna stand pat or not. A lot of rumors. And I gotta appreciate Rob for addressing the mistake, the huge mistake that he made, and to be able to do it by only trading one first is just a huge, huge win. But we'll start off with the very first package, the big 3 team that happened. Lakers and the Jazz and the Timberwolves finalized a 3-teamer where D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt are officially Lakers. Russell Westbrook and a 2027 first round pick, lightly protected 1 through 4, heading to Utah, where Russ is most likely going to get bought out, and I think he's going to be a Clipper. And the Timberwolves, honestly, I'm kind of don't see the purpose for them to get involved in this trade, but God bless them for giving us D'Lo. They got Mike Conley, and I believe it was like 4 or 3 seconds, I want to say. And we're going to see a theme of second round picks being thrown around. But focusing on this one, this was a great, great trade. I initially saw the Lakers were interested in D'Angelo by Real GM, and I'm like, what the hell is this source? I just brushed it off. And then I saw a video of Woj saying that the Lakers were expressing interest in him. Sure enough, shortly after that, Shams put out the first tweet of the 3 teams having discussions, and at the point of that tweet, it's usually not that long till the trade is officially completed. But man, those 3 to 4 hours were so long and excruciating. We had a point where the Timberwolves were almost backing out, looking at other deals for D'Angelo, kind of just messing with the Lakers, I think, at that point, trying to get more. And thank God the trade finally got put through, and I think this is just a great trade for the Lakers. I have to give it an A. You get a great point guard that can play on and off the ball and can shoot a basketball, which is crazy. 39%. Defense is a concern, but I think he's just the prototypical point guard that you need. I'd rather have an offensive point guard at this point. D'Angelo coming back for a second stint. Honestly, he's the player I'm most excited to see coming back in this package. I think it's just going to be a surreal moment seeing him back in the Lakers. He's grown up. He had a lot of stuff when he was first here in LA, but I think he's going to really show out, and I'm interested to see what we do with him in the offseason. He's an expiring $31 million player. But yeah, man, I'm very excited to see D'Lo. Malik Beasley, I think the perfect role for him is to come off the bench, be a flamethrower, be a sniper off the bench. I think his defense is just too awful to be in the starting lineup. But he's one of the best shooters that were available. Rob got him in the deal, which you got to appreciate. His shooting was non-existent on this team prior to this deal. And Jared Vanderbilt was the icing on the cake. This guy was very sought after. People thought he would get just a first round pick alone. I know Portland was kind of rumored to look at him a couple weeks back. Warriors were thrown into that mix, but to be able to steal Jared Vanderbilt, a guy who's making $4 million, who's just a great wing defender. He's kind of like a Wenyan Gabriel, but just 5 times better. He's just great hustler, great rebounder, great energy guy, and he's going to be able to really provide great defensive energy. And I'm excited to see him as well. Interested to see how Darvin Ham uses him, and we're going to kind of hint at that more as we talk about other trades, but it's going to be very interesting to see how Darvin Ham uses all these new players, because no more 3 guards. All those guards
Thank God.
are kind of regulated out. No more Pat Bev, no more Russ. So still got Dennis, Lonnie, and D'Angelo. So I guess there still is a possibility, but man,
don't you dare think about it.
I think Rob really is trying to save Darvin Ham from himself. And I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm excited to see who starts. I think our starting 2 guards kind of up in question. Personally, I don't even know who I would start. I'm kind of thinking about that more and more. But yeah, overall, this is a great trade for the Lakers. I give the Lakers an A here. You just get three players that fit all the boxes that you needed heading into the trade deadline. I think for Utah, you get a first round pick that's probably going to be pretty good. 2027, the Lakers are probably going to be post LeBron, maybe post AD even. And I believe they're up to like 15 first round picks or something like that. So Danny Ainge is really stockpiling these first, so you can't be mad at that. Taking taking Russ off the books, and we'll see where Russ goes. But I speculate he's going to be a Clipper. Looking at all the Clippers moves today, and Utah sending Mike Conley to the Timberwolves was kind of I don't know if the Timberwolves really upgrade at point guard. I mean, I guess he's a point guard that doesn't need the ball in his hands constantly, which D'Angelo is a guy that is a scoring point guard. And Mike Conley's not that. He's kind of a floor general playmaker, which I guess makes sense because of the way Ant's playing and kind of showing that it's Ant's team moving forward. And him and Gobert have had history. They've played together a couple of years, but downgrade from D'Angelo and Mike Conley is a little concerning for me. But I mean, yeah, the Timberwolves a C here. I mean, D'Angelo was probably not going to return anyway, so I mean, I guess it's smart to get him for something. He had a decent amount of seconds. Mike Conley is just a good steady point guard, but overall, I think it's kind of obvious that the Lakers came out on top in this 3-teamer.
I love this trade. We were hyping it up in our little group chat yesterday. It's just something that I'm just so excited about. What have we been saying about this team? No wings, no defense. Like Westbrook is awful. Get the guards away from me. And Rob really cooked yesterday, and I am so happy. We finally have some shooting. D'Lo and Malik Beasley are definitely better shooters than Russell Westbrook and Pat Bev. I think maybe. I think everyone could agree with that. Obviously, the Pat Bev deal happened this morning. That one was also something that I really loved. But I mean, finally, man, we get rid of Westbrook. Thank you for your time here, I guess. Obviously, good luck. And it will be really funny if you end up on the Clippers, but that's honestly kind of the only place I see you going. But I'm just really excited for this team. I really think that when we get going, I think if LeBron and AD can be healthy, that we really could compete for a play-in spot. I'm not gonna say, obviously be a top 6 seed, but I think that this team easily can be a playoff or a play-in team. And now you look at the West, and these playoffs are gonna be absolutely insane. Like, let's just I'm looking at it right now. Like the Nuggets, Grizzlies, Kings, Mavs, Suns, Clippers, Pelicans, Warriors. We assume maybe the Lakers can make the play in, and then the Timberwolves, we'll say. Like every team on that list, maybe besides like the Kings, like realistically, have like a crazy, like I guess you could say Fox and Sabonis have like this crazy duo or like this crazy like super team, quote unquote. Like this team or these playoffs are going to be absolutely insane. I hope the Lakers can make it in. It will just make it so much better. Um, I saw a post yesterday, like the closing lineup, like for us now, it could be like D'Lo, Malik, LeBron, AD. I forgot who the last one was. I think it was Vanderbilt. I hope so. But I mean, you hear that, and the lineup that we've been dealing with has been like Russ, like Lonnie, like LeBron, AD, like Pat Bev, and like, dude, I'm so happy enough to win this. Russ and Pat Bev on the floor again, ever again. Now we have Mo Bamba, baby. Like it's just so much better. I saw that we have one roster spot. I don't know who on the buyout market right now is.
Kevin Love on the way, baby. I really hope not, for real though. We need a
Kevin Love, baby.
Buyout market's just gonna be a bunch of washed guys,
it's gonna be a bunch of what. I mean, honestly, if it makes LeBron happy, get him, whatever. But overall, Rob making moves, Rob using his brain finally. You know, Rob, I really like how you matured, realized that you made some mistakes, and now we're back and now we love you again, Rob. You see how easy that can be? See how easy that is? Make a good trade and all of Laker Nation loves you again. But I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited for the end of this year. I really think that the Lakers can really get their stuff together. We finally have a oh well, LeBron's out tonight. I just saw that. And that's funny.
Yeah, he is out. It's gonna be a loss whether he played regardless.
Yeah,
so
I know. I'm just excited, man. I can't wait to see.
By the way, this trade is now officially official. D'Angelo Russell gonna be rocking number 1, Malik Beasley number 5, and Jared Vanderbilt number 2. So this trade is officially official. Very excited. It'll be interesting because the Lakers do have a tall hill to climb. They're gonna be 25 and 31 after the Bucks. Probably gonna absolutely dismantle the Lakers tonight, which I was expecting regardless. But these new guys gonna take the court up in San Fran on Saturday. Gonna be glued to my TV for that game, that's for sure. Very excited for that game. But now let's get into the blockbuster that came out of left field at midnight here in Idaho. You know, I was just relishing in just happiness that Rob pulled off a masterclass with the Utah Jazz and Timberwolves trade. And I was sitting in a Lakers space and a Twitter space, just Laker fans just gassing up Rob and looking forward to tomorrow to what moves we can make. And I look at my Apple Watch and I see Shams tweet, Phoenix Suns are close to acquiring ... I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. Sure enough, Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun. And let me look at the package, but it is Mikal, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, who's technically not even there anymore. So it's Mikal, Cam Johnson, 4 first rounders, all unprotected, and 2 pick swaps for Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. And this trade really blew up the world. And man, I was about to go to sleep too. I was about to get ready for bed, and then I see that trade go through. It had me laying in bed for like 2-3 hours. I just couldn't sleep at all because I was just dumbfounded by just sheer out of left field this trade came out of. And for the Nets, it makes kind of 0 sense to me. Like, people are even saying that if Durant wanted out, it would take longer to move him just because it's so close to the trade deadline. I thought it made sense if he wanted out to just trade him in the offseason because you just have all the time in the world to look over packages and stuff. But they traded him with less than 24 hours on the deadline. And I feel like they definitely could have gotten a little more, at least a player that's like the face of the Nets moving forward. They kind of don't have that. It's just like a mosh pit of just wings and Cam Thomas, who's props to him, man. He's looking great. 3 straight 40-point games, but for the Nets, it's just I don't know if Durant was kind of already on the way out prior to the Kyrie trade. I just don't understand why you want win now pieces if he was already on the way out. And that Laker package makes a lot more sense for the Nets personally, but honestly, I'm kind of chill with what the Lakers worked with in comparison to Kyrie. But man, the Nets just, I posted it on my story. The Nets are a true what could have been. You have Kyrie, KD, James Harden going all out, all in on a playoff series, and they play like less than 10 games together, get one playoff win to show for it. And just injuries to KD, injuries to Harden with his hamstring in the playoffs. You have Kyrie turning his ankle a couple times, I believe, in that Bucks series as well. Just very ugly. And it's just a trade that just you put all your chips out on the table, which I mean, I think any GM would probably do that to get those three guys in the door. But man, it just everything went wrong for them. It just blew up right in their face. And man, it's just very ugly stuff. But I mean, if you're a Nets fan, you get to move on from all of that. No more Kyrie stuff. KD, who was great for you guys, but he's been dealing with injuries for the past couple seasons. You just kind of start all over. You got some young guys, but then again, I wish you got like a cornerstone guy, a young star, who you can kind of call the face. I honestly don't even know who you call the face of the Nets right now. It's just kind of a bunch of really good role players all together. And I mean, I love Mikal. He's a great player. Cam Johnson's also very solid, but coming off a huge injury. Just feel like you could have gotten more from the Suns or just any other team in the offseason. And that trade just really shook up the world. And it's crazy, man. Phoenix Suns get Kevin Durant, making the West just a lot more interesting. Storyline has been the West is wide open, and now Kevin Durant coming out West. It's gonna be insane. And we had some speculation that Western Conference teams are just kind of scanning around trying to find pieces just to match this Kevin Durant coming to the Suns. We had some OG to the Warriors talk couple hours before the trade deadline. Just overall a very surprising move. And said last night, I'm going to stick to it. Hot take, the Suns are not winning a championship with Kevin Durant here. I think their defense is concerning. I think their wing depth is concerning. I think their bench is concerning. Are we putting faith in an aging Chris Paul? I mean, he's been playing better recently, but he's getting older. DeAndre Ayton has kind of been in and out mentally. Maybe Kevin Durant coming to Phoenix boosts him, plays better maybe. But then again, you don't really have a starting power forward. They traded for Darius Bazley, which if they start him, God rest his soul. But I think the Suns just have a lot of questions. Yes, this is a great acquisition, but I think your depth is very questionable. And I'm curious to see how it looks come playoff time. Do I think they're the title favorites? No, I'm still taking the Bucks or Celtics over the Suns personally. And come playoff time, I'm very interested to see if their depth becomes a very big issue. But that's kind of my main concerns for the Suns in this trade. Yes, you got Kevin Durant, and on paper, Chris Paul, KD, Booker, Ayton. On paper looks great, but I think the two big question marks are Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton if they play up to their standards. And if they do, they're going to be really dangerous, and it's going to be interesting to see. best believe I'm gonna watch that Kevin Durant debut game, and I believe that's gonna take place after All Star break, unfortunately, because he's injured. But huge get for the Suns. The Nets don't know what you're doing. I think for the Suns, make a big splash with your new owner. I think you got KD at a discounted price. I think you just got to give the Suns an A here. Getting KD for this cheap of a price is just really good, and just with less than 24 hours, be able to basically give up two players because Jay Crowder's not even there anymore in Milwaukee now. But um, you live with giving up those four picks. I believe they're 23 and 25. So for the relative future, you're going to be good. But 27 and 29, maybe you lose KD. Maybe he stays. But yeah, I think this is a great trade for the Suns. Push your chips on the table when people were questioning your championship window. Now that kind of opens back up. And for the Nets, I kind of expected another move or two to get off some of those wings that they had, but um, very curious to see where the Nets go from here because they're just in a very weird position. Also to mention, Ben Simmons is still there and not looking like a great trade from last trade deadline with James Harden going out. But yeah, the Nets. Oh, you know what to give them on this trade? I mean, I love Mikal. I think he's a great player. And as I mentioned, I don't think he's just that guy who's the cornerstone, who's the guy you say, yep, we're going to build around him. Very great role player, but yeah, I'll give the Nets a C. I think you got decent return. The four unprotected picks are gonna be pretty helpful, but then again, the Suns are gonna be good for at least those first two picks that you have, and then yeah, you just go from there. Hopefully, those pick swaps help as well. But yeah, Nets very interested to see where they go from here, man. They got a lot of question marks, a lot of questions to answer over the next couple of years. But Nets fans, I pray for you. You've been through a lot, but I think you'd rather be in this position, honestly, than to just deal with the constant drama that you guys dealt with past couple of years. But man, this trade was very shocking. It was great for NBA Twitter. It was on fire last night, and it was a great experience. But yeah, very shocking trade.
Yeah, I mean, I was just playing, some Hogwarts Legacy last night. I just see my phone buzzing a little bit because I have, obviously Twitter notifications on for some of the bigger reporters. I just flip over and I just see Katie to the Suns, and my first reaction is, God damn it! I I hate. I won't say hate. I dislike the Suns. They're very annoying. I mean, I think Jay Crowder was only like the really annoying player there. Obviously, you could say maybe Booker, but and I'm like, of course, the one team he goes to is the Suns, and honestly, such a shock. It was just a shocking and crazy trade. New ownership in the Suns, and that's exactly how you win over a team, win over an entire staff, is getting a player like Kevin Durant. And this team, this starting five is gonna look scary. I think that this team might be one of the best, fives in the league. But when you get the bench in there, that's when um, you definitely start kind of worrying and really get concerned there. But um, to solidify yourself as a contender, I think I personally think any team with KD is a contender when healthy. So I think that this team definitely could contend for a championship. Will they? We'll just have to kind of see how it plays out, how things work out, how bad their depth really is, which we know isn't the greatest, but we'll have to see what happens when they play those better teams in the West. And I'm just really excited, honestly, man. It's just the NBA for the Western Conference right now is in such an exciting time. These playoffs are going to be crazy, but overall for the Suns, I mean, you have to give it an A plus, whatever. Um, who cares about the picks? Obviously, losing Cam Johnson and Mikhail sucks, but you got KD, and when he gets healthy, that scoring is going to be scary between him and Booker. And that's just kind of where you have to be. I think this team gets an A. For the Nets, just kind of the same thing. I mean, what could have been that little bit of a run where we got to see Harden, Katie, and Kyrie was truly something special. And obviously, it didn't last. Things happened. Harden forces his way out. Kyrie forces his way out of constant drama. It sucks. It really does. But one of the biggest what if questions in NBA history, and it didn't happen. So we move on. But for what the Nets got back, I like Cam Johnson and McHale. I obviously you had to get some picks back, but now you look at this team and it's just, like where do we go from here? It just doesn't make sense. You have Ben, you have McHale, you have Cam Johnson. Like you just think about it, and it's just forwards everywhere.
Yeah.
And then like it's just Cam Thomas. Like that's basically like their only like guard feels like. But um I'm really excited to just kind of see Cam kind of have his own like role now. Hopefully he gets a bigger role. Obviously, he's been overshadowed by these superstars, and now 3 straight 40-point games. I really hope they just give him a chance to kind of break out for the rest of the year. So, I mean, that's kind of exciting. But the Nets are just, it's all been a confusing week. I feel like for what they gave up to get Harden and what they, did to get obviously Kyrie and Katie, it just doesn't feel like they cut a lot back, to be honest. It just doesn't seem like it. And obviously they got Kyrie and Katie through free agency, and now you trade them away, and it just still feels like you didn't trade away 3 superstars. So it's gonna be a dark time for Brooklyn, but like you said, it's probably better than having all that drama. And I'm kind of excited to see this young core kind of work it out and kind of figure it out together. Maybe they still make a plan. Maybe they make the playoffs too. Maybe this team works out. But we'll have to see. I'm very interested to see what happens. And for the Nets, I just have to give it a C. I just both trades. I just don't think that they could have they worked it out to their best of their ability. And it's just so weird. Mr. Joe is, I think, was a little high this week or something because he did not really, I feel like, look at his options very well. So um, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens, all that. But exciting times out in the West and exciting playoff time. I can't wait to watch.
So we're just gonna highlight some of these other notable deals. I think the Clippers were another pretty good team that came out of here winners. They acquired Bones Highland for a couple seconds. They sent their 24 and 25 seconds to get Bones, which is a good backup point guard option. They get Mason Plumlee, who's been pretty good center this year. He's going to be a good backup for Zoo. They traded Reggie Jackson for him, which I know Clipper fans were kind of high on, or he was kind of like a fan favorite, I guess. But from what I've seen, Reggie Jackson hasn't been the greatest this year. And to get Mason Plumlee, I think that's pretty good. Having a backup center was kind of a question mark for the Clippers. Now they kind of resolved that issue. They get Eric Gordon as well in a multi-team deal. They send John Wall back to Houston, which was very funny to see, but he's expected to get waived. So John Wall will be on the free agent market. Don't know where he's going to go, but it's been a sad story for John Wall. He's had to deal with sitting in Houston for a year and finally gets a chance, gets bought out, goes to the Clippers. Things just don't work out. He's injured, not playing the greatest, and then he gets traded back to Houston. And yeah, he's going to be looking for another team again. Interested to see where he goes. The Clippers move off Luke Kennard as well to the Grizzlies, which I think for the Grizzlies is pretty good bench scorer for them. And yeah, the Clippers, I think all smoke and mirrors points to Russ probably being that guy that fills that point guard hole. You move off Reggie and John Wall, you get Bones. Don't picture Bones Highland being your starting point guard, but can't put it past the Clippers. Russ has still yet to be bought out at the time of this, so by the time he does, I think he will most likely be a Clipper, which I'm very intrigued to see how that works out. Um, I just think whoever gets him is just a huge gamble, and Laker fans thought when we had him that we'd be able to fix him and just change the style of play. I saw reports saying that Clippers think they can get the most potential out of him, which I wish him all the best, but we'll see how that works out. But overall, I think the Clippers did really well. Who else? The Sixers getting Jalen McDaniels, I thought was a pretty underrated move. The Hornets only getting seconds for Jalen McDaniels, no players in return. I thought Jalen McDaniels was a huge pickup for them. You had Josh Hart going to the Knicks, which was pretty surprising. The Blazers getting Cam Reddish in a protected first for Josh Hart, which surprising to see Josh Hart's worth a first round pick. But yeah, man, this was a very intriguing trade deadline. I guess we can talk about the Lakers again. Moving off Thomas Bryant to the Denver Nuggets for 3 seconds and Davon Reed, which initially Davon Reed, I didn't really expect him to be a guy we keep around, but it looks like he's going to stay around. I mean, he's a wing, shoots decently from three. I believe it was like 38% I was hearing. And for a third stringer wing, I mean, I guess. I think he's a decent defender at least. But yeah, the word was Thomas Bryant wasn't necessarily happy with his playing time. His playing time has kind of just dropped dramatically since AD came back, and deservedly so. Whenever he's on the floor, he just gets crushed. Teams attack him in the paint. He's just not a great interior defender. If he's not giving you anything offensively, it's kind of just a lost cause. And recently, he wasn't really providing that. And when that trade happens, it kind of opened the door to Rob Pelinka making another move, and made another move he did. It was speculating that the Lakers were looking for a backup big. The move for Thomas Bryant was kind of to open the door for Vando and Wenyen Gabriel to play more. Personally, I would have liked a wing. I think a wing, one more 3-and-D kind of guy would have been very helpful for this team. But they decided to go with Mo Bamba for Pat Bev in second. Which, I mean, Pat Bev, I think the writing was on the walls. He was probably going to get moved. On Twitter, he was tweeting like he was safe, posted pictures of him and D'Lo back together. And just Lakers Twitter clowning on him because they're all like, he thinks he's safe. And the stupid Mr. Krabs picture. And it's like, how do we tell him? Overall, I like that high upside from Mo Bamba. Obviously had the very funny incident with Austin Reeves. I believe he's still suspended. So I don't know if we're gonna see him right away for the Lakers, but I think if you compare Mo Bamba to Thomas Bryant, I think the defense is just a lot better. Mo Bamba doesn't have necessarily just the size, which is kind of concerning for me, but I think he's just going to be a guy who plays like 15, 20 minutes maybe, and he can stretch the floor, which is good. Can get blocks, which is good as well. So I think if you need him out there, he'll hold his own. Interested to see if him and AD are going to get any playing time together, which will be interesting. I think on paper, it would be very intriguing to look at, and I think that could be an option. But yeah, can't be too mad at it. I know some Laker fans were kind of expecting more for Pat Bev, making $13 million. Thought we could get maybe a wing around that price range. everyone was talking about Pat Bev and Lonnie and maybe our other first or some seconds. But yeah, that was the move Rob decided to go for. Not going to get too upset at it. I think I kind of bought myself on the idea of Mo Bamba and free agency. I thought he would be a good uh mid-level guy, but obviously re-signed with Orlando, which I thought was pretty shocking. Um didn't play much in Orlando, which is kind of concerning, but overall I think we'll see how he plays out in LA. But I'm trying to think. I'll look for other trades while you give your thoughts on the Mo Bamba trade.
Yeah, I kind of alluded to it. I just really like it. Um, the biggest thing that I think we need to do is just get rid of the amount of guards we had this trade deadline, and that's exactly what we did. Um, we've hinted at it. The 3 guard lineup that Darvin Ham would love to go to is just absolutely atrocious, and I'm so happy that I never have to watch that ever again. But I didn't like Pat Bev. I mean, he was a great, hustle guy and just high energy all the time, but that's just not what we need right now. I really like the acquisition of Mo Bamba. I think that's a really good fit for us. His defense definitely is better than Thomas Bryant's, and I think it'll just be better to have an actual, reliable center on the team. Um, but overall, I think Rob really made a good move. Like you were saying, I was kind of hoping we got rid of Lonnie, um, and some of our seconds for maybe another forward. Maybe for, I know me and you wanted Gary Trent. Um, you know, OG was a dream that some of us had. No, it's very unrealistic, but we can dream. And Bojan and good old Detroit. I heard that we were interested in him towards the end of it. It would have been a great piece to have, but we didn't get those players, and we can't be upset because our team looks a lot better than it did 24 hours ago. So.
Mm-hmm.
Rob made some really good moves. I think that both the moves he made these past 24 hours are really good. They'll help out the team. And the biggest thing is we got younger. We got so much younger, and that is something that really is what we've been lacking these past couple of years on the good old Lakers. And I'm just happy. I really hope that this team can just work it out, and we'll make a run of it. Hopefully.
Yeah, man, very excited to see how this new team looks. Another trade I kind of forgot about. Jakob Pertl to the Raptors, which kind of solidified that the Raptors were probably going to stand pat. They gave up Ken Birch a first and a couple seconds to San Antonio for Jakob Pertl, which the Raptors have kind of been in the market for a center for a couple years now. And Jakob Pertl coming back to Canada, I think that's a good move for them. And they can piece together a second half run. I think having Fred, OG, Gary Trent, Pascal, and Jakob is a very solid starting 5. And I think they'll probably slowly start climbing up the ranks, maybe be that certified playing spot. We'll see how that looks moving forward. But yeah, man, I think this was a very exciting trade deadline. We had 2 all-stars get moved in less than a week, and still got games to play. Still got games to play before all-star. Kind of want to bring up this question: is James Harden, Kyrie, and Durant the worst big 3 to ever come together? The most disappointing big 3?
Think off the top of my head, I'd say yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting a big 3. Think the Westbrook experiment on the Lakers was pretty bad, but we're not even. I don't that we're not gonna bring that up. But I think for the scoring potential and the offensive potential, what this could have been was probably the biggest disappointment. I think we'll see for a very long time. I remember when the trade first went down for Harden, everyone was hyping up like LeBron, AD, Westbrook versus like that team and out of the East, and that would have been something crazy to see. Never happened. But yeah, I'd say of recent memory, I think this is the worst big 3 that has ever been assembled. that's been like disappointing.
I think the Russ big three's worse. The Nets. I think the Lakers.
Russ, I think that Russ, because at least the Nets went to the playoffs and were actually competitive for a year. Um, Obviously, I think it literally was just injuries that stopped them. For the Lakers, nothing was working. Like bottom of the barrel in the West, couldn't even make the play in. Like, that's definitely worse. But I think for just overall disappointing, I think the KD, Harden, and Kyrie had more hype than our big three.
Um, trying just posted like all the trades. Josh Richardson to the Pelicans was a good move. I mean, getting out Devontae never really worked out. Um, Gary Payton back to the Warriors after like playing like 15 games with the Blazers. He outmoved for like 5 seconds. Um, James Wiseman got moved to the Pistons, which I found pretty shocking. But I think for the Pistons, for James Wiseman, I think that's just a good spot to be at. Interested to see how he pans out because he's been very disappointing. Definitely did not work out for the Warriors. Sadiq Bey going to Atlanta. I think Atlanta got a very good steal there. I think they only paid a couple second or like 5 seconds as well. I mentioned Baisley's the Suns. The Suns needed a four. Basically fits that. Curious to see how he fits. Matisse Thybulle to the Blazers. Don't know what the Blazers are doing. Another note. Trading Josh Hart didn't make sense for me. Getting Matisse, sure. Moving off Gary Payton, just very questionable. But that's just the Blazers. Jay Crowder to the Bucks. That's been kind of the deal that's been talked about for the past like month or so. Just the Bucks trying to figure out how to get Jay Crowder. They finally did it. Got him for 5 seconds for the Nets. Theme of the deadline was just 5 seconds or more just to get the player you wanted, and teams are doing it. Lakers, I thought we're gonna do that with Mo Bamba. I thought they were gonna give him like 4 seconds or something, but they only gave up one, which I mean, props to Rob. But yeah, those are like all big trades that happened. You have George Hill to the Pacers. I mean, I feel like he's been on the Pacers for like 5 times now. Shout out Mike Muscala going to Boston. Made some noise at that LeBron game, so God bless to him. Raising his trade stock. But yeah, we're coming up on time here. Just to put our expectations on file here. Assuming health is wealth, when the dust settles at the end of the 82 games, where will the Lakers stand in the standings? Because personally, I think our team's a lot better. I think they're leapfrogging OKC, leapfrogging Utah, Portland, yes. So right there, you're in the play-in. Golden State without Curry for a month, I think. Minnesota losing D'Angelo. The Pelicans have been struggling with health. I think the only solidified teams are Denver, Memphis, Dallas, Phoenix. I think Sacramento might take a fall just because
everyone's insane now.
Yeah, just because of Durant. I think the Suns and Mavs are probably going to be the 3-4, I want to say. The Clippers got better. This is without Westbrook, so we'll see. But
I have this. I have us. I think we'll be a top 8 seed because I look at it. Nugget, like you said, I think the Nuggets stay up there. I think the Grizzlies stay up there. I think the Kings fall. the Mavericks will move up maybe. I think with injuries on the Suns, I feel like they'll still hover around 5, 6, 7. I don't unless that big why is my camera unless the big three plays like a lot. Like I think they'll stay there. Clippers maybe will overtake the Suns, bearing injuries. Maybe we'll do better than the Mavs. So I think the top six, minus the Kings, maybe enter the Pelicans, is like that. I think Kings stay in the play-in. Warriors, Timberwolves, Lakers, the rest of the play-in. That's how I see the West playing out. Because Portland got worse, I feel like. And I don't think they were gonna make the plan regardless. Actually, well, before they probably could have, but Jazz are falling off. Thunder are falling off. Like Lakers realistically just need like a 5-game winning streak and they're already there. So I think it's definitely possible. I think that's gonna be our Western Conference playoffs, and barring anything crazy, like you can see Nuggets like Warriors first round matchup, like which would be it's just crazy because you look at all of it. Like, let's just say like Nuggets, Grizzlies, Mavs, Suns, Clippers, like Kings, Pelican, like they all make it. Like you have a Nuggets, Warriors, like maybe a Lakers, Grizzlies, like Kings, Mavs. Like it's gonna be an absurd like um. I said Kings, Mavs. Oh yeah, well that's if the Kings fall, but like it's gonna be absurd. Like the Suns could play the Clippers the first round of the playoffs. Like, I think it's gonna be every loss Western Conference team takes this year. It's just like if you lose in the first round, that still doesn't matter. Like you were an insane team, so it's gonna be crazy. I just hope that the Lakers can have a little bit of the fun, actually make the playoffs and not lose in the play-in. Because regardless, watching a game or a best of 7 with any of these Western Conference teams with how we are right now, I think would be fun. I just want to see LeBron in the playoffs again. That's just first thing I want to see, but I'm excited. I just hope we can stay healthy because if we're not healthy, we're not making the play-in.
I'll go on a limb. Look at you here first. Lakers taking
God.
the 6th seed. They're getting a certified playoff spot.
Wow. Can we get a clip out of that one?
Oh yeah, we're gonna clip it.
Clip it.
So yep, that'll do it for this episode, highlighting the trade deadline. It was a wild experience, and my sanity as a Laker fan, I had a great time. If nothing happened, I would be having a miserable time. But overall, very wild experience. We saw 2 all stars just get moved in less than a week, and overall, it's just a great experience. A lot of movement. Trades are always fun to look at and analyze. But yeah, that will do it for this episode. Thank you for joining us today. I greatly appreciate it. Feel free to check us out on all our socials, Instagram and TikTok. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. We're live every Friday from 4 to 5. And yeah, that will do it for this episode, and we will see you guys next time.